Palan will help us understand the political significance also and the diplomatic significance that we are talking about, Mr. Rajagopalan. It's a short visit of the Prime Minister, but a very significant one to Nepal.
It's a very significant visit, as you exactly put it. It's a right way of, articulation. The reason for Prime Minister visiting there, if you remember recently, Nepal Prime Minister visited India. There are lots of, pro-Chinese efforts are being made in Nepal, in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka. Prime Minister wants to smash that type of Chinese aggression in Nepal. That is the reason why Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, is visiting Nepal. Apart from that, Nepal-India tie-up is not today or yesterday, it's of thousands of years old connections and relationship. Most of the Biharis and, Bihar residents and Uttar Pradesh people live and they have, martial relationship with them. With that background, Mr. Narendra Modi's visit, especially choosing the day Buddha Purnima, is also sending a particular message to the voters of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. So therefore, its politically significance, diplomatic-wise, I ensure, even in the export speech Prime Minister mentioned, China's expansionist attitude. So he wants to neutralize that. Earlier he had Pakistan. Now Prime Minister Narendra Modi is focusing on China. That is the reason. With that backdrop, if you look at Prime Minister's Nepal visit, one can understand the purpose and the timing. The timing is most important, and the choosing of a particular day, May 16th, Buddha Purnima day, will enthuse the Nepalese and also the local residents of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Politically, Bharatiya Janata Party is close ties with Nepal political parties are also established.
Absolutely, because Mr. Rajagopalan, in the last few years that we are looking at, of course, very strong ties is something that India and Nepal have always favored with each other, because there is a lot of similarities in culture and religion that these two countries share. But over the border issues, sir, there were strains in the ties that had happened in the year 2020, sir. Are we looking at all of those, just strains to be mended now, a renewed effort to come back together?
There is a concept of, conversation, somewhat in the diplomacy. You have to go on talking. Unless there is a particular resolution, for example, Article 370, for example, even triple talaq, for example, Ram Mandir. So the conversation went on for ages. Similarly, one day during Narendra Modi's tenure, Indo-Nepal ties will brighten up, will go very smooth, and today his signing of Memorandum of Understanding is very, very significant, because Indo-Nepal border is a security threat to India as well as to Nepal. Therefore, Nepal domination of Maoist and CPM, particularly the urban Naxals, those who go and take shelter, now Nepal government will be a little cautious because of frequent visits of Mr. Narendra Modi and also Bharatiya Janata Party's government ties with Nepal.
Mr. Rajagopalan, sir, thank you very much for joining us and helping us understand exactly the significance of the Prime Minister's visit there. At the Mahamaya Mandir offering prayers, he will also be delivering an address. At the Buddha Jayanti celebrations that is organized by the Lumbini Development Trust, the Prime Minister will also be participating in the foundation laying ceremony of the construction of a center for Buddhist Culture and Heritage Center within Lumbini Monastic Zone, which India is also helping to build, and also a strong counter to Chinese influence in Nepal with the soft Buddhist diplomacy that China seems to be carrying out. The Prime Minister there, we are looking with his Nepalese counterpart thereafter, will also be holding a bilateral meeting in Lumbini, followed by a lunch that will be hosted by the Nepal Prime Minister, and that then later Prime Minister Modi will be leaving for Kushinagar again. Kushinagar and Lumbini, very important there for those who follow the Buddhist religion, because we are looking at a day-long visit of the Prime Minister and several events that he will be attending. with the Nepalese counterpart, also to lay the foundation stone for a center for Buddhist culture and heritage. That is exactly what the Prime Minister today will be doing, but a lot of significance that has also been given on the day. Today being the auspicious day of Buddha Purnima, that is being celebrated, and though the agenda has not been set clear, but it is being said that around 5 MOUs will be signed between the two countries. So let me go across also to Rahul Ishwar joining us on the phone line. Rahul, especially when we talk about the religious and the cultural significance that both of these countries share, how do we look at the strengthening of ties and bonds between India and Nepal?
This is a historic step because Nepal and India were historically close, and whether it be Buddhism, whether it be Hindu Dharma, there is a strong cultural linkage and connect. And we knew that Nepal was the only Hindu country until almost a decade ago. So we share a very intimate, important ties with Nepal. And also we have to remember the China's devious designs around the world encircling India in various ways. So strategically it is important, culturally it is rejuvenating, and Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, Vivekananda are some of the icons that India and Indian subcontinent has given to the world. It is important we revitalize it. It is important we point out, and Buddhism is a very strong Indian connect to the entire East Asia, if we can call it. So it is very important, and Narendra Modi is strategically taking this step. I think this will be proved beneficial in the coming years, and the Buddhist circuit that has been imagined for a great while, it will also get that uplift. So the civilizational, cultural, spiritual, heritage-wise connect, which is soft power of India, should be leveraged. In the modern world, we know soft power is as important as hard power. So to leverage India's soft power across the entire East Asia, it is extremely important that we rejuvenate our Buddhist, dharmic, or cultural, spiritual, and heritage-wise roots. And I believe Narendra Modi ji is doing a great action in this part, and he has also envisioned something that was envisioned 1,000 years ago by people like kings like Rajendra Chola. The look east, think east, act east policy can also be benefited from such kind of spiritual connect or a cultural connect. So this is historic in one sense, and I hope this will rejuvenate and crystallize India-Nepal relationship in a deeper way. And if there are any thorns, this kind of visit will help remove those thorns and keep our neighbors and friends very close to India.
Because Rahul, also the significance there of the day today, it is the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima. The Prime Minister couldn't have chosen a better day to actually go on with his Nepal visit, and previously also he's paid visit to the Sita Devi temple and the very famous Vishnu temple in Nepal. So we're looking at 5th such visit of the Indian Prime Minister to Nepal in the last 8 years.
Absolutely. This is a great day too. Especially we Asians believe in the significance of days more than the Westerners. And it's also a spiritual, political, and also a heritage-wise connect. And this is a fantastic day because Buddhist message, Buddha was the light of the entire Asia. And Buddhism as our shared heritage is something absolutely important. And please remember, Nepal is home to some of the most magnificent temples around. Nepal shares a great Ramayana heritage. Nepal shares a great Hindu, dharmic, temple kind of heritage. So this is absolutely great that the entire dharmic revitalization, the ancient neural pathways of the dharmic culture that we had is revitalized. And it is important that we invoke our ancient forefathers like Bodhidharma, like Buddha, like all our forefathers, so that the link becomes more strong. And in the modern world, people to people connect, culture to culture connect, intercultural connections, cross connections are extremely important. So I think especially on this holy day of Buddha Purnima, it is absolutely wonderful, and I think it's a very well thought out and well researched chosen date so that things can have a great start.
Rahul Ishwar, thank you very much for your point of view, as we are staying with those pictures there of the Prime Minister live. But right now we are also looking at the other aspect, beyond the cultural connect, that the two countries will also be pushing for better connectivity through road and air, with Kathmandu seeking more air entry corridors to India. The two close neighbors are also expected to move on education, with the possibility of a premier Indian technical university establishing a satellite campus in Kathmandu, and Nepal getting the benefit of Indian advanced education in emerging and critical fields such as quantum computing. So, Mohit, we are looking at how the strengthening of ties will go beyond the realms of religion and culture.
So yes, in fact, and you see, this Buddhist center is very, very important, given the fact that it will come in terms of the educational ties between India and Nepal. And we know for a fact that what we are being told also is that certain MOUs would be signed in fields of cultural development between the two countries, and also regarding the educational aspect of this particular meeting. Now, we know for a fact that how Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after landing, has tweeted that he is happy to be among the people of Nepal on the occasion of Buddha Purnima, and he's also looking forward to various programs. Now, he'll also have a one-to-one meeting with Sher Bahadur Deuba. And
all right, just stay on with us. Mahroof Raza is also with us on the phone line. Now, Mahroof, we have been talking about the religious and the cultural aspect that India and Nepal having, strong ties together. But if we talk about the other diplomatic aspects, with a lot of FDI that China already has in Nepal, how is India now looking at the possibility to counter China's soft Buddhist policy?
See, India needs to really get its act together vis-a-vis Nepal, because for too long we've taken them for granted. And that is the reason why all our neighbors have decided to hedge one against the other, and China is a quick mover in such situations. In the case of Sri Lanka, we've seen what a mess Sri Lanka has become because of Chinese financial linkages to the Rajapaksa family. In Nepal, China has been trying to make strong inroads with investment promises, but Nepal's one exportable commodity vis-a-vis India, other than the Nepalese people that come to India to work at various capacities, is the energy that Nepal can produce through its rivers with India's assistance. Unfortunately, we have always been higgle-haggling with Nepal for a good price that seems to be profitable to us. But unless we go full force forward in this arrangement with Nepal, especially the Mahamayadevi that is there and the other tributaries, we can really make Nepal benefit from it, get it out of its poverty, and then all the other symbolism that is there, part of Indo-Nepal arrangements, can work towards India-Nepal's relationship to a favorable level. Right now, a bulk of Nepal's politicians carry anti-India sentiments. This has been seen at least in the last 5-7 years, ever since the Madheshtis stood up to the people in the valley, because the constitution of Nepal is very, very favorable to the people in the valleys. So the people in the lower plains connected to areas like UP and Bihar have always felt as outsiders in Nepal's politics. So these are two issues that India can really win the Nepalese over, because the Prime Minister makes a strong assertion. The Americans have recently given Nepal $500 million worth of grant for development projects. India should match that, because India has the money. India has been putting money in places like Afghanistan, which is really, as we know, money down the drain. You put the same amount as the Americans and the whole discourse will change vis-a-vis the Nepalese politicians and India. And the second thing is, give promises of any non-interference that Nepalese fear from India's side in their constitutional process. Give promises that we let the process take place the way it is. We don't want to interfere. Unless a formal assertion is made by the Prime Minister, by Foreign Office making commitments of that nature doesn't go down entirely well with them. And give more opportunities for Nepalese people to trade in India in a way that a landlocked country can benefit, because China has been making roads close to the Nepalese border, but Nepal's distance from the growth areas of China, which is the eastern coast, is much, much more than what Nepal can benefit from closer interaction with India. We've got some border-related issues with them. I think these are issues that are historical issues. We're not going to get very far by haggle-haggling with them. We should settle it amicably and as soon as possible. These three things, if they are addressed, you have a win-win situation with Nepal. Otherwise, you can keep making such trips on holy occasions that doesn't entirely buy the Nepalese out in India's favor. Back to you.
No, but Mahroof, if we talk about the Chinese investment, because today is also the day when the Nepalese Prime Minister is also inaugurating a key airport that was mainly funded by China. But also on the other hand, we are also looking at where Nepal is expected to ask India to support its power projects. So what is the equation that that Nepal wants to give both to China and also to India, and how could India play it to its own advantage?
The Chinese have deep pockets. They have been making investments everywhere and buying out vulnerable governments and weak governments. Sri Lanka is a case in point. Pakistan is again a major Chinese vassal state with massive investments in Pakistan by Chinese. And Chinese have more than 75% of Bangladesh's military equipment comes from China. So there is no reason to think China will not get involved with Nepal, because China, as per Mao Zedong's dictum, would like to take control of 5 regions along India-China border: Ladakh, Aksai Chin, Nepal, Bhutan, Sikkim, and Arunachal. Those are part of China's long-standing agenda, just like Taiwan is. What we need to do is we need to have a serious amount of effort to put in to counter China's activities. You can't stop China. Nepalese are free people and a free country. They can make their choices. But you can make it worth their while to engage with us properly, because right now, Nepal energy consumption is 134 kilowatt hours per capita per year, as against the world average of 2,674. So you can imagine they are less than 0.5% of the world's average. They have the waters. They can become a hydropower sufficient country. Once electricity comes in, the whole game and narrative will change. I believe that is an area where we need to make investments. And airports and all are minor things. They can take place in due course of time. It doesn't take much time and effort to make an effort. But you need to have dams there to put together an energy relationship.
So what is expected that 5 MOUs will be signed between the two countries. However, we are also expecting a statement also from the Prime Minister today, also on the occasion of Buddha Purnima. The Prime Minister is currently on a visit to Nepal, his 5th one ever since he took over as the Prime Minister. Maruf Raza, thank you very much for joining us with your point of view. Let's quickly move